You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, reality TV fans. This is Soap Dirt, and we are going to be talking about Sister Wives today. Some of the older kids of the Sister Wives clan have been coming out with accusations, allegations, revelations, and the latest are from Gwendlyn Brown, but we've been hearing a lot from Peyton Brown. So today we're going to talk about what Gwendlyn said about her biological sister and how she looks at Robyn Brown's kids. There's a little bit of history in here and it ties to what she's currently saying. So just real quick, if you don't know this, Kody Brown right now has one wife. He's a polygamist who's down to one wife. So that makes him a monogamist. But the rumor is that they're shopping for another wife. We'll see. But right now, Meri Brown, Christine Brown, and Janelle Brown have all bailed on Kody Brown for reasons that fans understand after watching the last season. His sole wife, who's also his legal wife, his only legal wife, is Robyn Brown. And if you know your Sister Wives history, or if you don't, here's a little lesson. Kody was married legally to Meri Brown, and then he spiritually married Janelle Brown and then Christine Brown. But then when Robyn came along, she had kids from her first marriage that Kody wanted to adopt, and to be able to adopt those, they had to be legally married. So he divorced Meri Brown and he married Robyn, who was Robyn Jessup then. Then he adopted her kids. She had 3 kids with her first husband, whose name is David Jessup. David Jessup's name is important because that's who Gwendlyn just spilled some tea about. So Gwendlyn said recently that her mother, Christine Brown, is David Jessup's first cousin. Now, if you know anything about Mormons and polygamy in this branch Mormon community, you know there's a lot of, you'll hear the same names. There's a lot of cousins and just people that wind up as stepkids. It's very messy. So Christine's daughter Gwendlyn just said that Christine and David, Robyn's first husband, are first cousins. So what that means is that the 3 kids that Robyn had with David Jessup are biologically second cousins to all of Christine's biological kids. And this gets confusing because all the kids consider themselves all related in this big family. They consider everybody brothers and sisters, and they consider the moms their moms. But most of them are not biologically related except through Kody. So technically, Janelle's kids are cousin to Christine's kids, are cousin to Mary's kid, are cousins to Robyn's 2, Dayton and Aurora, that she had with Kody. But there's more ties there, which is very interesting. What Gwendlyn said was, when I was in high school or middle school, when I first learned about that, I used to always refer to Aurora as, since she and I are biologically second cousins, she's also biologically my sister because we are genetically related and we're sisters, so she's my biological sister. She's saying that because they have a genetic tie through Aurora's dad and Gwendolyn's mom, that they are biologically related. That is true. They are biologically second cousins. Then she says she's also biologically my sister. She's saying that because they were raised as sisters and then they share a biological tie, that they are biological sisters. That is emphatically and scientifically untrue. That's an emotional statement. She considers her biological sister because of this, but scientifically, no, not accurate. But, you know, it's very sweet. So we're going to look into, real quick, if you're not familiar with it, the complicated overall family tree with the Browns. So right now, Kody has 3 ex-wives, 1 legal wife, 6 grandkids, 18 kids, and that includes the biological kids and the ones he adopted from Robyn. It's all very confusing, and they were all raised, even when they lived in separate homes, together with the idea of they have 1 dad and 4 moms. But things, of course, are more complicated now with grown kids and all this going on. So Mary was wife one. She was the only one legally married to Cody in the beginning, and they married back in 1990, but it was in 2014 that they divorced. So they have been married 24 years when Cody divorced her to marry Robyn so he could adopt the 3 kids she had with David Jessup, one of the ones being Aurora, who Gwendlyn was talking about. It was a year after that divorce where Mary started looking around and got catfished. And of course, we all know about that because they spent, like 3 seasons of Sister Wives. Catfish, catfish, catfish. Nobody wants to hear about the catfish anymore. But it looks like that him divorcing her and taking another legal wife aggravated her to the point that she went looking online for love. At that point, Mary and Cody were already having problems, but her looking for another guy definitely changed the vibe. And what's interesting is although Mary was the first wife that he married, she was the last wife to leave him. Christine went first, then Janelle, and then Mary finally left. But Mary had been trying for years and had rejection after rejection after rejection. And Cody said in the last season he wished she would just find another man and move on. He's clearly not going to take her back. And she finally recognized that, which a lot of Sister Wives fans had been waiting on. So do Cody and Mary have any kids? Yes, they have 1 kid. She suffered with infertility, and at one point they'd even talked about Robyn maybe being a surrogate for them to have a second biological child, but they never pursued that. So Cody and Mary have 1 child, Leon Brown, who was born in July 1995. Leon revealed that they're transgender in June of last year, and that was a whole big thing with the family, but it looks like everything has settled down now. Leon has a partner, Audrey Chris, and they seem to be pursuing their happily ever after. So Mary and Cody had 1 kid, Leon. Janelle and Cody had a lot more kids. They had 8. So what's interesting also is that Janelle was wife 2, but she got pregnant before Mary did. Mary and Cody got married in 1990, and Cody and Janelle had their oldest son, Logan Brown, in May of 1994. Then there's Madison Brown Brush, who was the second child, born in November 95. Then in February 1997, Janelle had Hunter Brown. Then she had Garrison Brown almost a year later in April 1998. Then Gabriel Brown was born in October of 2001, and Savannah Brown was born in December 2004. And it's Savannah that we were seeing primarily in the last season of Sister Wives when Janelle was living in her RV on the property, but Savannah wasn't real happy about it. But now she will be 19 by the end of the year and out on her own, and that freed Janelle up to leave Cody. So Janelle and Cody had a spiritual marriage that lasted almost 30 years, but then she walked out on him in late 2022 following Christine out the door. Now, Christine and Cody had 6 kids. That was the wife that he took after Janelle, and theirs was also a spiritual marriage, not a legal marriage. And the way that things worked with the kids growing up, if you know your history, is that Janelle mostly worked outside. She had a real job, not saying that motherhood's not a real job, but she had a job where she was out earning a paycheck as a realtor. And Christine basically raised Janelle's kids also. So Christine is super close to Janelle's kids and vice versa. All their kids are very, very close because they grew up with basically Christine raising them day to day as the caregiver. Some of the allegations that have come out recently from the older Brown kids relate to them being uncomfortable around Mary when they were growing up. So that explains why all the kids from these 2 wives are tightly bonded and not so bonded with some of the other kids. Robyn's kids that maybe came later, and then Mary's 1 kid. Cody and Christine's oldest is Aspen Brown, born in March 1995. And then Mykelti Brown came a year later in June 1996. Peyton Brown, who's been another one who's been spilling the tea about the family, came along in August 1998, and Gwendlyn Brown in October 2001. Then Isabel Brown was born March 2003, and Cody and Christine's youngest, Truly Brown, was born in April 2010. She's a teenager this year. She'll be turning 13 very soon. And Janelle waited till her last kid left the house, and then she left Cody, but Christine couldn't hang on, waiting another 5 years for Truly to turn 18, and she just took Truly and walked away and went to Utah. And then we've got Cody and Robyn's kids. So back to Robyn. She was married to a guy named David Jessup, and they had 3 kids. She had Dayton Jessup, born January 2000, Aurora Jessup, born June 2003, and Brianna Jessup in April of 2004. Now, those kids are Dayton Brown, Aurora Brown, and Brianna Brown because they took Cody's name after he legally married Robyn and legally adopted them. And we're back to the fact that Robyn's ex is Christine's cousin. So it's very bizarre. And then together, Cody and Robyn have Solomon Brown, who was born in October 2011, and Ariella Brown in January of 2016. So those 2 kids are younger than Truly Brown by a few years. And of course, everything's complicated now because all of the other wives' kids are either grown and moved away or just moved away in the case of Truly and Christine Brown. So the only day-to-day interactions that Cody is having with any kids are the kids with Robyn that are the 2 that are younger and the ones that are still living at home, which is also interesting because you'll remember in the last season, Janelle argued with Cody about him saying when the kids are 18, she needed to toss them out. But there's no sign of tossing 18-year-old and up kids out of Robyn Brown's house. So that's the messy family tree, and this little egg was cracked open again recently for us to take another look by Gwendolyn's revelation about Christine and David being cousins and her considering Aurora her biological sister. What she is her biological second cousin. But, that's how she sees her. And that's our look at the messy, messy Brown family tree. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.